We're live. I still get a kick out of that, right? Broadcasting from the other side.
All right, I'm waiting for us to be live on your page. Yes.
Oh my goodness, I am so clickety this morning. I did a ion foot cleanse yesterday, foot bath, foot cleanse, oogie thing where all of the juices came out of my feet. And I did not realize how...
Ew. All of a sudden I got an image.
Ralph's image was even ooier. Like he had towards
so
the
I'm
end,
going like this in my head. La 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 la.
towards the end of Ralph's session, his started going green, and I'm like, "Oh my god, look, it's green!" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Gallbladder." Yes.
I'm going to share us on Healing Circle too. Okay. You and I, we're on two different realms at the moment. You're talking about, you know.
Beast mode, man. Beast mode. I don't know what this astrology is.
Oh, I do.
I know you do. You do. It's so interesting because I have become very selective. Like I'm like all in my house.
Uh-huh.
And I like that.
Well, that's good.
I like that.
I'm getting, it is 1,000 degrees today here, and I'm whining in good old Maine because I've been in accomplish mode. I have painted, I have posted, I got 3 sides done. This side that looks at the forest probably is a fall project because there's really no reason. Yesterday, I would say that was one warm journey.
Oh my gosh. Spirit suggested that you get an air sprayer.
Yeah, you know, I've never used one, and I don't want to be painting the camper for the first time out in the outside. It's something to hone the art inside where you don't have winds and breezes and bugs and people, you know. I love to paint.
Wax on, wax off feels good.
I love to paint, and it is definitely I prefer inside.
Oh, okay. My aunt, I have an aunt who is one of my greatest teachers. And our greatest teachers are those that sometimes rub us the wrong way. And my aunt would have us staining her fence in the blaring hot heat. And we had fun because cousins have fun. And looking back on it, I mean, I burnt. I was a small child. I burnt. Sunscreen wasn't a thing.
So I am definitely I am end of baby boomers, beginning of millennials. I technically am a baby boomer. I mean, not millennials, Gen X.
Gen X.
But my childhood was much more about Gen X. And I was a bit more, Gen X were the feral children.
Oh, yeah.
And because of the situation with my mother and my brothers and sisters, half of us are baby boomers and half of us are Gen X. So we really experienced the Gen X, and because my mother was ill, we were very feral. Only that's why I wanted today's topic, being good, because I was taught to be a good girl.
Me too.
And so, you know, I've always known that was a limiting set of paradigms. Okay. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't have a mom, I did have a father who was kind of interesting. He once said to my youngest sister, "Why are all the girls," his 3 daughters? Now there's also, we were Brady Bunch plus. After my mother passed away, my dad married a woman with 3 kids. And I always say 6 to 9, 3 to 9, big difference.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And it's just a little more in the herd. That's all. When you're one of 6.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
And so anyway, and we were this this split thing. And my father raised very independent women, not because he taught us that, but because he didn't have time to teach us the other paradigm. And as things, when he remarried my second mother, and they were together 43 years, but I was already, when they started dating, I was 14, almost 15. And so, and I was the little mother. I had this whole other role. And so being good, after giving all of these things, my dad remarried this woman, and I lost everything I knew to be my role at 15 years of age. Like, so at 15, you're kind of losing it. You're kind of looking for who you are. I was truly looking for who I was. And it was an interesting developmental time. She died when I was 12, but it's going to be 13. I'm born at the end of the year, Scorpio. And he remarried when I was just before I turned 16. I was 15. Wow. And they were together for 43 years. But she was sick from the time I was in second grade. So I was the little mother, and I was taught being good. And I was raised Catholic in a Catholic church, very much the patriarchal energy. I think the breaker just kicked again. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's a big piece of it. So I thought we talked about being good. And we're going to be talking for guys for probably about 30 minutes because the air conditioner just kicked off and it will get hotter than hell in this tin can.
Oh my God. When I was 15, actually, when I was 14, I met my first ex-husband. So we were camping with my parents, my mom and my dad and my stepmom. And I was out gallivanting. And I met a man. I met a man and his brother, and they were tenting, and I got to be friendly. And my dad showed up on his 10-speed, circling the campground. Right? And he was feisty mad. I'd never seen my dad mad. I didn't know what his problem was. Yeah, this guy was a bit older, so he was drinking and smoking pot. You drank, Dad. Well, that didn't go over well.
No.
I was grounded. And the second that he would leave, off I went. And then he finally just gave up. You're going to do whatever you want anyways. And when I walked down the aisle with Marco, oh my goodness, he said, you don't have to do this. You can walk. You can stop. I'm like, oh, of course not. I know what I'm doing. I'm making a good decision. Flash forward, divorce for 2 years. And I did not tell my father about it. I didn't tell him about any of my problems because I did not want to hear those words. I told you so.
Yep. Yeah.
And he would have said them. And he was right. Said the same thing about my second marriage. Guess what? Didn't listen. I know what I'm doing. Nope. I mean, there's a great memoir. I'm grateful. You'll be reading about that in August. And Kitty is going to be one of the endorsers on my memoir. We talked about this, right?
Yeah. No, but I'm happy to do it.
See, I'm going through my lists, and some people are like, no. And I'm like, oh.
See, and I was taught being good is, because there were so many children in my family, a big no-no, just like your dad, and you didn't want to disappoint. A big no-no was to ask something in front of my parents. So it made it difficult to say no. But by the way, my parents had no trouble saying no.
My father said, fuck no.
Yeah. So,
my mother said no all the time.
Like I said,
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was raised good, and I'm grateful that I was a good girl. And I'm
grateful that there was a value on being the best person you could be.
Oh, I mean,
and that's what I think of as being good.
Oh, I was brought up in a foundation of Christianity, which I am so grateful for. I learned how to pray in German because I went to a church that was German. I had to understand what was going on. And
Mhm.
now I listen to church services in Italian sometimes. And there's a beauty of the Catholic Church, all of the gorgeous, um, oh my goodness, all of the windows and the saints and the
Well, and
spirit.
there is something to the ceremony. There
Yes.
is a meditative now, I am old enough to remember mass in Latin.
Oh, no way. See, I
Yeah.
want to go to Italy just to hear it.
Um, so when I was young, um, they were in the transition, but high mass was still in Latin. And so I I remember they literally taught at my Catholic school when they were making the switch over. The priest came over and listed everything that happened, and then he X'd out what was leaving. I mean, I don't remember all, but I remember there were still Latin masses.
Yes.
And I thought they were beautiful because they were a time to meditate. I'd look at those stained glass windows. I'd, you know, and be thinking about God. And
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
that's what it
And the
became.
way that it was presented. I remember this question in church. Have you heard the good news?
Yes.
And it was such a um, beautiful question. And it led to such amazing topics. It was just, I grew up trusting that there were angels all around me. I grew up with all of that. And I was afraid. I mean, I was good because I believed that if I was bad, I would be like lightning bolt. I really believed it.
Well, yeah, of course, because that's what that's you believed what you were told. You believed, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
When I think about it, it's probably true about lightning bolts and that, but I now kind of understand that means I come back to get it right or
Yes.
to be a, and to integrate. That's what this evolutionary information is about. And right now we are really dealing with delusions, illusions, dreams, and imagination and growth. All of these things, experiencing them, squares with Neptune are having us take a look at what is it spirit, what have we brought into, or maybe limited spirit with our understanding. And
Oh,
I think that that's why the Latin, it was like I could, it was the vibration of it without understanding what it was saying. Uh,
mhm.
it was the kind of purest feeling. And I was very fortunate that I came in my bus stop conversation wiring that when I hear something that strikes, even as a child, very deeply,
Strikes a chord.
and it's mine. It is an axiom I live by. I was actually thinking of that just today because on Intuition of the Soul, I share a woman who does cards every day, the Raven Esoteric, a
Yes.
friend of mine, and she was talking about how our worlds evolve, and I thought about it, and I said mine evolved parallelly and with a dip usually into spirit. And that's what being good is about. That's where this topic came from because I had been thinking about this. And now with intention,
Mhm.
they're not separate, they are together. And
It's
that's
so
part of
true.
the
It's
law
so
of
true.
manifestation and all of those things.
When you tune in and tap into your intuition, your inner knowing, the beauty of all that you are, you have the ability to understand the two parallel lives that you may have been living. So for me, Spirit's been reminding me of beast mode and then Beauty and the Beast
Yes.
because I can be a beast. My children experienced that when they were rambunctious as children. And they would stay up late watching TV or playing video games after I sent them to bed. And then in the morning, when it was time to get up and they weren't getting out of bed, I would wake them with loving, morning, sweetie, it's time to get up. My one son, Chance, would take the blankets and put them over his head. He'd refuse to get out of bed. He was a big boy. I would put ice cubes in his bed to get him out of bed. Oh, then he was just a I had to do what I had to do to get 5 children to school.
Yeah.
I started off as Beauty, and then I went Beast. And once Beast turned on, man, there was no shutting that down. It was all day, till I picked him up from school and had a nap usually before because I'm like, oh my god, I'm probably going to get a letter from the principal again, right? John became my friend. It was a good relationship. He understood. He's like, ooh, rough morning, hey Nance.
I know I was raised to believe that no matter what school could do to me, what my parents could do to
Oh,
me
wait
far
till
worse.
you get home.
Right. And, you know, and there were so many things going on in my life. It was, I mean, there was a soul bargain with my mother, I'm quite sure, to have a good girl to help because I was the helper. And just recently, I heard an expression that says sometimes helping is just a happier way of trying to control things. That was very true as a kid.
Appease, 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 appease.
Well, as a kid, because my life was out of control,
Mhm.
being the helper did give me control.
I still do that.
Yeah.
I still tap into appeasement mode when I'm in a family event or a friend event where I don't know a lot of people. And who's washing dishes? Nance. Who's picking up all the dishes? Nance. Who's serving beer? Nance. Helps me. And it's a
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful opportunity
Right. As long as,
to
again,
zone
this
in.
is that intention. As long as I know this is about me taking care of me, getting some control, feeling that control. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful, but and
And
and I
as long as there's an awareness there.
right.
That awareness is so beautiful and so powerful. I've been reading in the mornings often the Healing the Witch Wound. Witch Wound, the Witch Wound, WITCH. And it's really interesting because it speaks to healers, it speaks to intuitives, it speaks to energy workers, it speaks to tarot card readers, it speaks to astrologers, it speaks to midwives, those who sell snake oil. It speaks to anybody who has used their intuitive gifts and been banished
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Yes.
Go to your room.
That's a beautiful. I'll be thinking about that. Have been banished, or funny you should say that. As an adult, I've been attacked.
Oh, attacked. Oh, huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge, huge. And it's so interesting because I'm less provoked and more invoked. I'm like, really? Oh, I didn't know that you felt that way. And then sometimes I get sassy. And sometimes I get really hurt. I truly cry sometimes because I'm like, I did not know whew, that it was still that pain was still so much inside of me.
Yes. Yes. Because there is a piece that is so blown away when those kinds of things happen, being banished for being who you are,
Mhm.
the message, being banished because you went to get help from a leader, whether it's a parent, friend, teacher, and that got you in more trouble.
I'm telling,
Yeah.
I'm telling, I was an only child. So when I told all my cousins, oh, that was not a good idea. I didn't know. I mean, I remember one time when my dad was out of booze and I told him that one of my cousins had some in their bedroom. And I said it in front of that aunt. Didn't do that again.
Yeah. The glories of living with alcohol. I go once a week to talk about it personally. Not,
Yep.
and I did not, interestingly enough, I did not have the drinkers in my immediate family, but they were out in the
Mm.
generations and the behavior came through. I mean, the generation that was one out was either people married to drinkers or
Oh, interesting.
oh, the patterns go in your DNA, but they also go in the sociology of it.
See, and
Um,
I thought it was very normal that everybody had a bottle in their console, a bottle in their like
right,
everywhere. There were
right,
bottles everywhere. I thought everybody drank.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know. I had no clue. I was extremely naive in thinking that there was anything wrong with drinking. Everybody was drunk in my family.
right. And when they're drunk, they're philosophical. When they're drunk, they've seen it or done it, uh, or flown over it.
And I
And as
didn't
a kid,
realize
talk
that.
about being banished when they're
Yeah,
doing it. Oh, that's a bother. Oh,
yeah,
I'm a bother because I have
yes,
needs.
yes.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I didn't realize that Uncle Hans, and I had Uncle Hans on both sides of the family, was really that wrong because they were just I would finally get that love that I wanted. I did not understand love languages. I didn't know that physical touch was important and appropriate touch. No one told me that stuff. Never.
oh
Never.
no, that's one of the fun things when I hear people say, "Oh, in the good old days, what were incest and Uncle Hands and all of that was hidden, and nobody talked about any of that stuff, and nothing was up front, and women were, still,
Better in the kitchen. In the
yeah,
kitchen. I was not allowed to eat at the big table until I was allowed as a child because as a child I was allowed to eat with the men. And then as a teenager, I was like, no, I would sit at the table. And I would refuse to help in the kitchen. I'm like, I want to be served with the men.
yeah,
My aunts were just like up in arms. My Oma, my grandmother, was like, let her eat. My uncles were like, this is kind of cool. Finally, we've got one, you know.
Well, my mother was very, very good at, my second mother, very, very good. And my mother was unusual, my birth mother. My mother gave birth to me in 1960. She was 31 years old, was a
Mm,
chemist and a lawyer. She's the first woman to motion her husband to the bar in the state of Michigan ever.
wow.
Yeah. So, uh,
That's like
and
my stepmom. That's my stepmom. Rita was the editor of a newspaper. She was a sales manager of a newspaper at the same time, sales manager and editor.
mhm.
Exceptional. And she didn't know how to sell at all. My father was the one that taught her how to sell.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing because then she got married and had 6 kids and headed down this very traditional path. Which, what did you do with your brain? And then, of course, we are from the generation of do it all.
Oh,
I I can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan
and you put a
because I'm
crown
a
on.
woman.
Yeah,
Like,
oh yeah. Oh, soccer mom, football mom, soccer, football. Okay, my kids played
and
soccer.
still work.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. I still ran the business. And it was
right.
football, it was soccer, it was dance, it was taekwondo.
And it's
Um,
I love the younger women now. They go, "F no, I ain't doing that."
and
Like,
then as grandparents, we're like, that's okay, I can do it for you. And they're like, no, I ain't doing that one. I'll go
well,
once in a while. My
now
kids
I was definitely more of the probably baby boomer mom in that it was okay for my kid to join like 2 sports. I only had one. I have a stepson, an older stepson, and he had a parent younger than me, definitely much more Gen X, who signed him up constantly. And I was like, I was old, and that's the other thing about being an older mom, is like, I'll have energy for all that stuff. Just don't have energy to work full time, run every weekend, somehow get, yeah, because we were still, trying to balance all of that.
I
So,
wonder what the statistics are of adrenal fatigue with the Gen X's
oh, I don't know. That would be
or
interesting.
undiagnosed adrenal fatigue when you're so tired.
This
Like,
is my husband, everyone in the background. He's trying to help me with the air conditioner.
oh, this shadow that goes in and out. But
Yeah.
adrenal fatigue, when you're so exhausted, and adrenal fatigue can be one of the gateway illnesses that leads to so many more.
Just a second.
So many more.
Is it coming on? Why don't you turn it up to like 80 and maybe it won't work so hard.
Oh my God. I wanted to put flannel sheets on last night. It's so freaking cold here.
You know what? That happened yesterday. The day before, I had to borrow my husband's jacket to finish painting one of the sides, okay?
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was so ungodly hot, and I was out there like by 8:30 trying to beat the heat.
Mm-hmm.
There was a breeze, and I couldn't believe within 24 hours what was happening.
It's pretty phenomenal. And we get that in Alberta a lot. Our season is like our 4 seasons are bring everything that you've got for clothing because we dress in layers. It could be hot, it could be warm, it could be cold, it could be freezing. I always have a winter jacket in my vehicle, even in the summertime. I'm like, y'all don't know what could happen. It, I don't, if I'm uncomfortable in temperature, if I'm cold, I'm cranky. If I'm hot, I'm happy. Unless I'm too hot. And then you better bring me, a fan. My
I I
my
would
own
I
fan.
would much rather be cool than hot.
Yeah.
Honest. I mean, I'm okay. Like if we're on the beach, get really hot. As a matter of fact, that's where we're headed right after this.
Oh,
Um,
good.
uh, and so we're trying to figure out this. And the good news for us is though you guys got absolutely whacked last year with that
We
heat
got
wave.
whacked last year. This year we got nothing. So when we enter those states of temperature, whether it's an internal temperature, what's going on in your head, what's the weather like in there, or an external temperature, we become very interesting. So me, if it gets really hot, I'm like the queen. I'm no longer I'm the queen, and it's my fan. And if anybody else wants it, they can go get their own damn fan. Like it's like, and why didn't anybody bring me a fan? Like I just get like, if I'm cold, I'm like so cold. It's cold, and I want someone to bring me a blankie and a hot cocoa, and
So
I'm
so
okay with
you're a fire breathing dragon when you're hot,
that. Yep,
and when you're cold, you're a little hedgehog who just wants to curl up.
absolutely, absolutely. And I know that about myself. So now I've got a fan in my trailer. I got a fan in my house. I've got blankets everywhere. This is what I need to do to be me. I also have peppermint everywhere because peppermint, if you spread it on your body, it immediately takes a hot flash into a cold, whoo, damn it's cold, damn it's cold.
Oh, I should do because I was told also
Peppermint's great.
this time of year to drink peppermint in your water.
Oh, and if you just put peppermint like under here, under there, armpit peppermint is great because like, whoo, and it's like an air freshener in the car. It's like,
Oh yeah,
everyone's
no, thank you.
Ralph's dad, he's like, oh my God, what are you doing? My eyes are burning. I'm like, it'll fade, Pops. It'll fade.
So, um, yeah, we're definitely this is gee, we've gotten to peppermint and we've gotten to feet and we were taught about being good, but that's what we do because this
Yeah.
is part of this discovering. For me, in order to be good, I have to be authentic so that I can make, it's taken me a long, excuse me, time to learn that being good isn't, oh, I'm an angel, that I don't have human reactions. It's what I respond with those reactions that is authentically. Even to say I'm angry, or when I step, we call it going down the well, at least bring a flashlight and a friend.
Yes.
So that I can figure out next time, make new panels, new little channels in my brain of, so I have more reaction time and understand that there is an assessment. And sometimes it's okay to go, that really just pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you did it. The situation, what you had to say, I was triggered. As long as I'm owning this assessment,
Yep.
I I don't have to be the fire breathing dragon. Like,
No. And if you can find your own verbiage to explain these things, I'll say things to Ralph like, babe, I suggest we don't go down that path right now.
Yeah.
What path? The one where you keep talking. Because I need to be alone with my thoughts right now. And I'm going to go in the other room. I need to go in the other room. You didn't say anything. It's me. I'm going to separate myself from the situation. I'm going to figure out what all of this is. And I do that by going here in my heart and feeling my feelings, listening to my thoughts, and then connecting to the universe. I need to do that alone sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
need
then
to.
I can feel my feelings and realize, they're a feeling. Again, what is my response? What do I want the outcome to be?
Yeah.
I'm not particularly fond of blowing up. I don't do it very often. My thing is that in my life, I've been caught in righteous indignation. How can they not be good people? Oh, Judgy McJudgy just showed up, you know? And it's like, now not everybody wants to be good.
Well, Judgy McJudgy, and then we start out handing tickets to the guilt train.
Yep.
Tickets to the guilt train, like spirits showing me, like in Vegas, when they hand out those business cards.
Yeah.
After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me.
Well, or how dare you, do that. I'd hate to have the name Karen right now. How and yet that's that righteous indignation where I go and perhaps I take that energy and I spread that energy out, which is not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
I really want to feel like, well, you do you. This is about you, not me. And
It's
even if
big.
even if it angers me, it's my anger, but it's still about you. Let me disconnect that cord. Let me,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love Sunday dinners. And because my family is so scattered, I don't get my family here for dinners often. And when I feel the desire to have all my family over, I bake a big dinner and then I freeze it. And then when they do come, I've got enough frozen food for a week. And then I get to enjoy being with them. It's one way that I have to work through the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I pulled out these cards. Have I ever played Swear Formations with you?
No, I've seen some decks. I wonder if I've seen this one. So
So this is Laura Lee Harrison's deck. Laura Lee and I were in Sacred Hearts Rising together, and she helps me with my social media scheduling. Um, Wonderful platform that she's designed, and I like using a platform that a friend has designed because then I get that wonderful opportunity to schedule a call with a real person
mm-hmm. Yeah.
who actually cares. So she created these cards on a whim. Her and a friend were sitting together, and the friend said, "Oh my God, affirmations, I love them. You could do a swear formation deck."
Yeah, because I've seen swearing decks. So I'd be curious to know if this is, yeah.
She created this deck in less than a week, straight to publication. Amazing. So in pulling a card, let Spirit pick one, two. There's only one card that I won't read if it comes out. It's not
I
here.
heard 3. So
There's 3, but if there's one card that comes out, I won't read it because it's just not going to be read. I'm so fucking gorgeous. That
oh,
was one, like being gorgeous, defining yourself as beautiful. Ooh, Marilyn Monroe. What happened to her? Right? I am gorgeous. Gorgeous. Right?
and
If
I love Marilyn Monroe. She had curves, she had cellulite, she had all of it.
she had all of it. All of it. And that was before they had the opportunity to brush that stuff out.
Right. And
Oh,
I
this
am
one.
yes. I mean, I remember saying things like, "Oh, he's out of my league." Like this
Oh,
whole
right?
conversation, yeah, when you're younger. And
Yeah.
you still see these things perpetuated.
Oh, you do. And then when you go to the high school reunion and you realize that the cheerleader and the football jacket wearer, the quarterback, weren't all that in a bag of chips. They were just people like you and me. And
Right.
I could have been that too. They wouldn't let me join the cheer squad because I asked what we were supposed to do and we were losing. And they're like, cheer. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. Cut.
All
Go
right. So
team.
I don't have much time, but what's your other two cards? I'm loving this for today, being good. So today, to be good, I'm going to say, fuck it, I'm gorgeous.
That's right. I am fucking healthy and vibrant in body, mind, and spirit. I'm that bitch.
Oh, I want that picture. That's a yeah. Yep.
Right? Because in order to practice self care, it means that we have to not take care of everyone else before us.
Right.
Teapot, fill your own teapot. And the last card is I am the shit, the fucking shit, period.
I'm not sure because in my life, when you were called a shit, it was that you were a horrible person.
Well, you were sometimes doing things that were out of the acceptable limits within your circle.
Right.
Don't be such a shit. See, and in the Italian, pupa
Yeah.
means doll.
Oh.
Isn't that cute? So Ralph calls his granddaughters pupa. Hey, pupa.
You know, my dad called us doll. So that's kind of that was his affectionate name. So not
Yeah.
honey, not sweetie, it was doll.
My uncle called me Bilzak.
What's that?
Cry baby.
Oh, I heard the circuit go. So
Oh my goodness. If you take a big bag of ice
uh-huh.
and put it behind the fan, it'll take the cold air and push it through. I had an employer that
You
did
just
that.
reminded me, I have this little unit thing that was supposed to do that. So
Yep.
yeah,
Ice
I think
behind the fan.
it's that we got to do something about this circuit breaker, this box. So and what's our last one?
That was it, just 3.
Oh, those. Oh yeah, I was a little stuck on the fucking shit.
Oh, here's one more. I'm picture perfect fucking health. Back to Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Love that body that you have, every single bit of it. And if you want to change it, find somebody that will help you change. Kitty, I have in 6 weeks dropped 5 pounds.
Good for you. Years ago, I would say
And I'm not starving myself.
right around 2018, I stopped. Well, I actually started it with the doctor, talk about health. I refused to be weighed except once a year at my physical. You know how every time you go in, they want to weigh you. I'm like, no. I said, this is obsessing too much about this number and about my weight. And then I just started saying, I'm just going to pay attention to how I feel and eat. Then both of my parents were ill in 2019 and died. That was my Saturn return. And that really came to the forefront. I'm glad I had started it. And what's funny is I've gone from an 18, I'm down to under a 14 by doing nothing except paying attention to my body and not obsessing about the number. That's it.
It's amazing. I've started taking some beautiful natural, all natural. And boy, did I research it before I stuck it in my mouth. Products that help me with my hormones, with my thyroid. It's amazing. Like, it's really amazing. And it's funny because last night Ralph says, he goes, pasta again? And I'm like, I'm eating pasta because I'm able to control my appetite because of these drops. And I only eat a quarter plate. He's like, well, I'm not. And I'm like, well.
You know, I think.
He's like, I don't know if those drops are working for you, babe. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're working. It's wonderful.
I think part of it started when in 2000, what year was that? 2013? Went into menopause, my gallbladder started to cause, and I didn't know it was my gallbladder, and I got really sick. I got much thinner, and I felt like terrible. So what? I was thin. I felt awful. And eventually we found out it was gallbladder, and my weight did reset itself kind of up to about 16, but it's reset at 14, but it was up as far as almost 20. These are sizes, guys. These are US sizes. But it really took feeling horrible. I'm like, I am not going to obsess about that number. I just want to feel good. Because when I went through the period of feeling bad, didn't feel like eating, didn't want to do. So now I'm just joyful that I want to eat something. And I have periods where I eat more and periods where I eat less. and my body adjusts to it. I'm just learning to listen to it.
I agree. Women have gone through so many dangerous times, and I mean dangerous. Do you remember when there were tapeworms in food
Oh,
in pills?
yeah,
Women actually took pills with tapeworms. And
right,
then there was the Dexedrine craze. And then there
right.
was the caffeine craze. And you still see it with some of the strange things. Like there, I was watching on TikTok. I love TikTok. And there was a woman who had this cinching thing that like her boobs were like, wow. And her butt was like, whoa, and her waist was like, eh.
Well, they used to wear corsets to do that too. Yeah.
And she must have done something. And all I thought was, ow. I wore Spanx once, threw that shit out. I didn't even put it in the recycle bin. I threw that shit out. I didn't want anybody else to
Well,
have
it was, I wore maybe twice and it was so hard to get on. I'm like, this is not
it.
good for my body.
No, and then you can't pee fast. You got to get it off to try and pee, and then you pee in the damn Spanx, and then it's spanky peas. Pee Spanx?
Yeah.
Spanky peas? I don't know.
You know,
No more.
I just, part of accepting me really, Capricorn first house, Sagittarius rising, Jupiter and Saturn as I approached was just accepting the structure of who I was. And I remember watching when my mom passed away, she fought weight, my second mom. I watched my sister put a video together and I remember thinking, you were so beautiful at every age, but
Right.
in this bargain in your lifetime, this number became really important to you from your youth.
Mhm.
And though she was very good at saying, it's just a number, it's just a number, size is just a number, it's how you feel. And yet she went on the cookie diet. She went on she went to the hospital and did some of their strange diets. And ultimately, though the funniest story about when she was dying, her sister and she had this funny, my Aunt June, they're hysterical. Both of them are very funny women. Aunt June's still living. And my Aunt June was very athletic and was always thinner than my mother. And it was like this competition when they got older. I'm thinner than you are, June. No, you're not. So she leaned over in her deathbed and said, okay, I'll give it to you. You're finally thinner than me. And even though she'd been out of it for almost a day, her hand shoots up and she goes like this. And I'm like, at least there was some humor at the end around this. But and accepting who you are allows that inside and outside to connect and be good. I can truly be good because I'm aware of what I need. So I think that's a good place to stop.
I think so too, except I want to put one thing that Garfield said.
Okay.
This is what my understanding was that allowed me to, what do you mean? Each folder is limited. Oh, I just got to delete another. Okay, fine. Limited. I'm like, what do you mean limited? There we go.
Diet is to die with a T. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Garfield said, that orange cat.
Yes, I love Garfield.
Me too. What a beautiful sentiment. And it's true. It's true because if we start to not allow ourselves things, then what do we want? And then we have that.
Well, but that's also one of those patriarchal stories from the Bible. Oh, the forbidden fruit. You know what? There are a lot of things that have been forbidden for me. I haven't had any desire for. Excuse me,
I know, it just drops.
It just drops. That's one of those myths and beliefs I can let go of. It's forbidden. I want it. And there is a piece that makes you look at it. Best way to get a book read is to ban it. Because people want to see why was it banned. They want their own input in it.
Yes.
And yeah, I love that. Diet is to die with a T. Mm-hmm. And
Garfield loved lasagna. He was a happy cat. I want to be a happy cat for the rest of my life.
And if my body starts to tell me, let me take a look at what I'm putting in it. Let me take a look at, am I moving it enough? Let me take, what is my thoughts saying to it? And I still tell the doctors very kindly, I said, I don't mean to make you angry, because it used to make some of the nurses angry. I can't say it made them angry because I really don't know what they were feeling. There was a definite change in the energy. And well, I'm supposed to do it for my job. I get that. I just think we're too obsessed with the scale. I will get on once a year, I understand. And if I'm having like a medication, which has never happened, I would get on the
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
And
Monitoring according to body mass.
yeah, and it's not what it's supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
all right, my dear, we'll be back next week early as well.
Yes, we will.
On the 26th. What do you have a time yet?
Probably right around this time again, I think will work for both of us.
Yeah,
So
10:30.
right around 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. No. Yeah, 8:30
Yes.
Mountain Standard Time,
8:30
10:30.
Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll do that too. We'll see what that is. This
Yeah,
is great. I can share this out. This works perfectly. So,
we did it. We did it. We
all
did
right.
it. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye. Ending stream now.
Yeah.